Alright friends, here we are. So we're working on the AVIOS Bushmule here. Take two. It's early. It's like 6 in the morning. Here we go.
Welcome to the Dave It Yourself channel, the home of unique RC creations and unique RC views. Dave It Yourself. Stick around.
Hey friends, thank you for coming on back. It's Dave here with the Dave It Yourself channel. Here we are still working on the AVIOS Bushmule. Still in the same state that you saw it in during my live stream. Still no connecting rods on it. Still no receiver in it. Still nothing like that. Haven't even put any Mod Podge on it. So at this point, what we're going to do in the rest of this video here is we're going to go ahead and put the wings on. We're going to go ahead and put in the receiver. The receiver I'm going to use is actually going to be a Spectrum receiver. It's an AR636B. And I'm going to be putting this in. I think this came out of a Hobby Zone product, probably an Aero Scout. That's probably where this came from. But so we're going to put that in, and then we're also going to do the testing with a Smart 3S 2200 battery. Actually, this is a 4S 2200 battery. I'm sorry, 4S, but that too. All right, let's start over. All right. Let's do this as the card. Let's do it like this. Alright, there's that. Okay. Need a coffee swig. Hang on. Bad. I need a swig of the brown Jesus juice. The warm nectar of the gods. Ah, so much better. Alright, let's try this again. Hey friends, Dave here at the Dave It Yourself channel. Welcome back. So here we are still working on the AVIOS Bushmule V2. And it has not gone any further this entire week since my live stream. I still do not have any of the connecting rods on it and still don't have the receiver in it. But I did find the receiver I'm going to use because I have quite a few of these. I'm going to be using a Spectrum AR636B. Looking at the tag here, it is an HB product number, so that means it probably came out of a Hobby Zone. I would guess probably an Aero Scout. So that's probably what this came out of, a little 6-channel receiver with safe capable. So we'll go ahead and be hooking that up. And then also to be testing this bad boy, and this is 4S capable, so we're going to be using the 4S 2200 smart battery here to go ahead and get this thing going. Now what I'm going to do here is really only have a few things left to do. The big one obviously is to put the receiver in. Being a plug and play, obviously you have to put in your own receiver and plug stuff in. I have only had, well, I've had two other plug and plays, the Aeros F15 and then my Cessna, which can't remember who makes that because it didn't say in mine, but came straight from China. So, but anyway, that was also a plug and play, which I think I also used an Aero Scout receiver in. So it should work fine. So we'll see how that works out. Those are the only two experiences I have. Most everything I buy is bind and fly, just because I'm not a very good pilot. But you know, as I get a little bit older here and start working a little bit more, I'm starting to get a little bit better with these things. So the AVIOS Bushmule V2 will be the third plane that I end up putting a receiver in. So wish me luck on that. So I have that ready to go, and then of course I also have a bind plug ready to go here as well. Just having a little zip tie to make these little black things easier to see. So I got that there. So from here, I think the thing to do will be to try to figure out a good place to put the receiver. So let's see what we've got going on here. And I was using this magnet right here to hold the plane down, since it's pretty light, but now that I have this battery I can throw that in there. But let's see. So the only thing I've done so far obviously is the assembly. I put the wheel on. I have the servo arm on there ready to go. But besides that, one of the things I'm not super crazy about, and I don't know if you can see that here, but the servo wire that goes to the front wheel here isn't really tucked underneath the panel or anything. It's just kind of floating up here. So I don't know that I'm going to necessarily worry about trying to tuck that underneath the panel. What I might do is just go ahead and tuck this wire off to the corner here and then paper tape it. Keep it out of the way of the battery and all that stuff, but still leave the connector visible and available. So we'll see about that. And then, of course, with this particular plane, you have the capability of going through the side door here. So let's pull all these wires and such out. See what we're working with here. Okay. Let's see. Gonna need a little visual assistance here. Boink, boink. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, well, this looks like the full harness. And got a rudder lead here that's kind of short. And you got the elevator. Okay. And then you got some lights, flaps, lamps, reverse. Okay, so that reverse will also be on a channel. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Throttle, these are 2. So I got, okay. All right. So let me set that there. All right, so we do have the front control arm hooked onto the servo as well as the front wheel, so now that doesn't move anymore. I'll need to tighten these up a little bit. These are really loose on the spindle there. So I want to tighten those up a little bit, but at least I have that in place and that looks fairly straight-ish, so we'll tweak that as needed. All right, so let's see what else we got here. So let's start plugging stuff in and see what kind of response. This has got a it's got an XT60 on it that comes that way, so that's cool. That should work with the smart battery. All right, just have to push a little harder to get it on there. But let's see what we got here. Let's start plugging some stuff in. Let's see what we're working with here. Okay, so we got double flaps here. So this is just how I do it. To remember what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 mean. I spell it as tear, but I spell it like the Greek do, so T-A-E-R, and then it's tear girlfriend, GF. So it's throttle, aileron, elevator, rudder, gear, flap. Tear, GF. And remember, the tear is spelled like the European would spell it back in the day. T-A-E-R, not T-E-A-R. So tear, T-A-E-R, GF. Tear girlfriend. Throttle, aileron, elevator, rudder, gear, flap. There you go. So that's how I remember that. So, elevator, T-A-E is number 3. And of course, white always goes up. So that's number 3. We got flap, which is GF, so I know that's 6. Okay. Then we got cabin, which I guess is going to be that back door. So that would be the gear channel, so that's 5. GF, girlfriend. Alright, and then we have 1 throttle. And should have another throttle. There it is. Now, if you wanted to do differential thrust, you could obviously put these on separate channels, but I'm using a 6 channel, and I think I'm going to need all 6 of those because it's got flaps and the gear, or the door. So we're going to go ahead and put these 2 into a Y connector for throttle, and then that is going to be number 1, which is And number 1 on here is actually the second set of pins, because of course the first set is the bind set. Alright, so reverse, we'll hold off on that a second, see where that might come into play. Okay, and then we have aileron, and we still have lamps. Alright, so I got reverse, aileron, and lamps. Alright, so aileron obviously goes into the second hole, T-A-E-R. Yellow goes up. Make sure that gets in there. There we go. Alright, now I got a rudder somewhere. There it is. And that goes into the R or number 4 channel. Alright. So that's all my channels lit up. After I bind it up, I can probably put that lamp into the bind port. But so right now, the only thing I don't have connected is going to be the reverse, because I just don't have a need for that at this point. But that'll be fun to play with, very Draco style, being able to stop the plane. Alright, so with kind of a little rat's nest in here. Alright, let me go ahead and set this off to the side. Try to get the power cable out through all this rat nest. Here we go. Alright, we're just going to set that in there for now. Grab the old bind plug. Slap that bad boy in there, get it ready to go. And since the bind plug does not have red or black or yellow or white or any other colors, just remember that your pins, not the black flat top part, but the bottom pins, always go to the higher numbers. So when you put in your bind plug, the pins go toward number 1. Alright, so we got the bind plug in, we got all 6 leads plugged in, well 7 leads, but I got 6 plugged in there. So we're just going to give it the old, gotta grab my radio. We're just going to use the old DX8 right here, out of my handmade David-Yourself DX8 controller case that was $5 at Bass Pro Shop. Alright, a little bit of foam and stuff, you see it fits right in there nicely with my phone controller on there too. Alright, let's throw that in there. And I have not even set up a model on this plane for this yet, on this controller. So, and I have a bind plug. Here's another little tip for you. So I have a bind plug right here on my throttle cut. And the way that I keep that bind plug on there, which is pretty simple to get it off if it wasn't 6 o'clock in the morning. Here we go. Alright, so I keep a bind plug on my throttle cut just in case I ever need one. And the way I keep it on there is I just put a piece of black electrical tape on the switch itself, just fold it over so it's flat. And then what you do is you fold the electrical tape in so that you can slide your bind pin on there. Then you fold the electrical tape out and now it won't come off. So there you go, you got a little spare bind pin if you ever need one, and you just use a piece of, I use electrical tape because it's black, but just sandwich it on there and you can pull it off if you need to. It's not on there permanently obviously, but it's enough to keep your bind pin on, and that's all you need. Alright, so there's a little tip from David-Yourself, nice. Alright, so let's go ahead and set something up here. Alright, we got lights. Let me go ahead and throw this weight back up here to hold that down. Alright, the receiver is blinking and I want to be able to program safe, so let me go ahead and pull out the bind plug there. And then we'll come step over here and just do the old turn on the radio, hold the bind button. Alright. Now, I don't seem to hear. There we go. Had to throttle up, throttle down. All right. Got nothing connected, but let's just make sure we got things moving. All right, front wheel's moving. I do have that connected. All right. Obviously, I don't have the ailerons in. All right, let's take off the throttle cut. Let's try this a little bit, make sure my wire's not in the way there. Tuck that behind this other wire for a second. All right, I'm just gonna try this a little bit. All right, and I just noticed that the wind pushed against me. So, probably have these on the wrong one. So let's fix that real quick. And hope that that's not a controller thing. Because right now it's in reverse. Alright, so these have like little pins that you had to push down into. Okay. These little plastic spinner caps here. Alright. Yeah, with everything being so plastic on here, literally the heaviest thing on here is this motor. These motors, maybe the battery when I put it in there. Alright, let's see what we got here. Now, if it still spins backwards, we'll just have to swap. We'll just have to switch the throttle. Alright, here we go. Let's try this again. Okay, now it's pushing. There we go. And that seems like it's got some power, so that's exciting. Alright, friends. Oh yeah, let's try the, there we go. Can you see that? Ooh. Ooh. I don't like that. Look at that fluttering servo. Okay, I'll have to adjust that a little bit because it does look like it's a little, A, I want it to come down slower, and B, it looks like it's not quite flush, as you might be able to see there, which may not be necessarily a huge problem, but since that bay is kind of flat, I do need it to be somewhat flush because I got to put those coins in there, obviously, to drop it out. So, all right, so that looks like we're in good shape there. And on the 4S, it looks like it's powered pretty good. So let's go ahead and pull this battery off. Turn off the controller. Set the old VX8 over here for the minute. Okay, cool. So there we go. We got the receiver in. Now the thing to do is to go ahead and get all the control rods hooked up, get these wings put on, and then from there we'll go ahead and see exactly how everything responds. We do know that the servos are moving. It does seem like everything seems to be working. So we'll go ahead and get into that. And then from there, once we make sure that everything seems to be working, then we'll go ahead and find a good place for this receiver. Based on this rat's nest and maybe just throwing it on the bottom there. But we'll see. I like to try to get it out of the way if possible, just so I can have that side bay door available for maybe a pop-out camera or something like that. That would be cool. But anyway, so that's the next plan. So right now, I think that's what we'll do. All right, friends, so let's take a look and see what we've got going on here. So I've got the receiver. I want to make sure that the battery comes toward the front here. All right. Everything seems to be plugged in properly. Sit outside for a minute. Let me take this prop off, since I know these work properly. So I can sit outside without bending that prop. Okay. And that way I can paper tape all the other lines, like the servo line going to the door here. Go ahead and paper tape that to the wall, paper tape all the long lines to the ceiling and such. And then once I have all those taped down and I have all the lengths and slack exposed that I need to tape those down, then what's left with that rat's nest ball, I'll probably go ahead and stick it up into that ceiling cavity, cut a piece of foam board that I have somewhere, probably from my 500 sign I used. I have a whole box of it. And then from there, glue a little ceiling to the top there just so it holds all that rat's nest above the ceiling and out of the way. I keep that bay nice and clean in there. And that way I can definitely make sure I have enough stuff. And then with the side door, I think what the plan will be is with these coins, these chips I'm gonna drop, I think what I'll do is probably put like a styrofoam cup in there, or maybe a solo cup, something like that, to make sure that the coins don't go flying toward the front. Kind of put a stopper in there, and then that way I can hopefully load it from the side door here with this door shut, and then from there take off, drop them out of the back door, and with the cup there it should just help dump everything out. So might need to get a styrofoam cup for that. Maybe I'll shoot by the gas station and get a drink or something as opposed to buying a bunch of cups. But that'll probably be the way I do that. So that's going to be the next step. So all right, so just cutting a little ceiling here. Okay, and then there's going to be that support rod on that side, so we'll need to cut that out. Alright folks, let me kind of show you what I got going on there. So I got this little, you may be able to see it there above the wheel, but basically a little ceiling right here. I'm just going to glue that in place, cut out a couple of notches for the supports that are already in there, so that I'll glue those on there. Be a nice firm fit, and I'll just use a little paper tape and hot glue to get that up in there. And then from there, that'll be a nice, as you can maybe see above the wheel there, a nice clean ceiling in there, nice clean bay once I get those other wires taped down. So I'm gonna go get the glue gun and go ahead and get that together. So get ready for that. And I think that'll take care of this rat's nest problem, and will also give me a nice smooth ceiling to work with. And yeah, that'll be good stuff. So there we go. That's about the right size. There we go. Notch here for the support in the wall, and then the notch here for the magnet by the door, and this is going to be nice and flush with the door as well, so give you a little extra support right along with the length of that magnet. Okay, so I'm gonna go get the glue gun, get that in, and like I said, I need to tape the other wires down first before I put that ceiling in to make sure I got enough slack on these other lines, which I should have plenty. But the more slack I use and the more slack I tape to the side walls or ceiling or whatever with that paper tape, the smaller that rat ball will get. So that's nice. So we're going to do that too. So that's the focus. So clean this up inside here, get it ready to roll, and then from there we can go ahead and put this stuff on. So stick around. All right, friends, got some of the first aid medical paper tape here. And this is the paper tape, not the fabric tape, not the plastic mesh. This is just a straight out old first aid paper tape. You can kind of see through it. It's very meshy. But anyway, this is what I'm going to use to lock down these lines to the walls and stuff. So bear with me a second as I do that. Start with a little piece here on this door servo. Pull out as much of the line as I can from the rat's nest. And we're going to go ahead and anchor that to the floor and up to the sidewall. So put a little piece of paper tape on the side, and then push it to the foam. Okay. Voila! There we go. Now I got this main lead right here to the servo, taped down onto this little foam. Battery tray is completely exposed, nothing's in the way. Got my battery power lead here and foam's in the Velcro strap. So all I got to do is adjust the way that this is sitting. But until I actually tighten up these wheels, you won't really be able to get a really good feel for that anyway. So there we go. All right, so there's a little cleanup there. So there's some paper tape, a little foam board for sealing, and some paper tape up here to hold this line out of the way. Now all of my lines are out of the way. The only thing I need to do now is secure the actual receiver right there. And I think the process for that, looks like I got another little wire here I could maybe tape out of the way. Shove that up into the hole there. Is that in the way of my receiver? Alright. Alright. Maybe a little bit. Alright. So we will get a piece of tape. Tape that out of the way too. Get a little piece of tape here. And oop! Nose fell off. Alright. Strap it across the line. Make sure it's not in the way of my receiver. And then push it back. Find the sealing. Stick it on. And then push it on. Ha ha! Nice! Clear shot all the way to the back. Alright, now just gotta do this receiver. And I think for that, I'm just going to glue that receiver to the roof to, again, keep it out of the way. To make sure I get some good adhesion, I'm going to put some paper tape on the top of this receiver. And I'm going to put a drop of hot glue on it. And then that meshy paper tape will hold that, the tape will hold onto the receiver without a problem. The hot glue will hold onto the paper tape, and the paper tape and hot glue will hold onto the foam. So I'll put myself a decent little bead there. Oink. And then turn this bad boy upside down. Grab the antenna, use that as the guide. Push this bad boy down so it's right at the edge here. Hold it. And we'll also put some paper tape on it. Move the antennas out. Okay. Oop. And with a little bit of the glue dripping out, I definitely want some to capture that. Paper tape's a little too wide, rip it in half. Put that on there. Try to capture that dripping glue with the paper tape, because now it'll turn that into a shear seal. And then put the other piece of paper tape that I just tore in half, put that on there. And that should hold her. Alright, friends. So there we go. I got the receiver hot glued right here to the ceiling. Antenna 1, antenna 2. I'll go ahead and use some paper tape just to go ahead and tape that bad boy out of the way and run it toward the nose. But there we go. Nice and clean. Little piece of paper tape right here on the front. Nice bead of glue there. That should hold that on really nice. So we should be good there. Once that cools off, we're in good shape. We'll go ahead and stick the wings on. Oh, watch out for my hot glue spider wires. Alright. But I think that's pretty clean. So let's see if you can see it all once we put some light in there. Alright, so here's the side view. As you can see, nothing in there. And if you can happen to see down in there, I don't know if you can see down there, but clear shot all the way to the back. So, pretty sweet. So there we go. Very nice and clean. The only thing you see back there is the servo on the ground. So, I'd have preferred them to put the servo on the ceiling, but hey, you get what you get here. So there we go. Cool stuff. So we got that all cleaned up. Receiver in. Let's go ahead and stick these wings on real quick. There we go. All right, so we'll put those pins in. But there you go, friends. Slap the nose bag on. Doink. All right, and the canopy. Still gotta nail those lines down, but there we go. There's the AVIOS Bushmule V2. All right, so let's go ahead and slap the battery in it real quick. Fire this bad boy up. We'll go ahead and turn on my controller. And still got to put some Velcro on the battery and all that, but all right. All right. Do have a strap in here though, so that's there. There goes that crazy servo again. Oh my goodness. That floppy servo, good grief. Come on, you flappy bottom. Goodness gracious, that's annoying. Well, here's one thing. AS3X is working already. We're safe. So that's nice. Alright. But that flappy servo, that thing, it's weird because that thing comes down lower than the dang wheels do. So as soon as it comes down, it's putting pressure on the servo and causing the servo to like wind out. So why would you make a door that's longer than the actual landing gear so that it stresses out the servo? AVIOS, what were you thinking? I mean, I get it. When you drop it in midair, it's fine. But all right, let's try the controls. Goodness gracious. All right, so not super impressed and pumped about this bad boy yet. Let's put it up here so that the door doesn't hit the thing. Let me use my propellers as wheel chocks here, even though they ain't going anywhere. All right, and then we can also take a look. So we got right, left. Let's see if we got rates. I do have rates already, so that's high. There you go. Don't have a lot of authority, it looks like, on the rudder. Yeah, it's shut. It's not flapping, but it's still not flush either. So, I do have flaps set up. Holy smokes, those are straight down. And those are not flush, so we got some adjustment to do with the flaps. All right, let's try that throttle. All right. Yeah, got to do some adjustment with that. I'd like some more authority there. All right, friends, so there you go. There's the Bushmule all hooked up, ready to roll. Got to do some tweaking to it, of course, so I'll do that throughout the day today. And then from there, I will probably try to test fly it tonight. So far, my overall impressions on the scale of 1 to 10, I'd give this plane probably, and again, remember, I'm no expert, so take my review with a grain of salt. But just for what you've seen so far in this video and some of the issues that I've had with the cheap hardware and the servo on this door and some of the other things, I mean, it's a nice plane and it will definitely suit the purpose, and it's it will be a fun plane to play with, but at the same time, there's a lot of things about it that just did not go very smoothly. So we'll hope that the flying part goes smoothly. I was able to tuck in all the wires and do all the interior cleanup, and everything looks good. So hopefully, with that being the case, we should be in good shape here. But we'll wait and see exactly when it comes to flying it. So the next thing will be for me to do is to tweak all this stuff up, go ahead and get all these surfaces level, maybe adjust where I have the clevises, things of that nature. Hopefully, get everything looking good. And then from there, we'll go ahead and start wipe it down with the alcohol, put some Mod Podge on it, go ahead and start giving it a little bit of coat with that. get it some protection after I get everything all straightened up, and then from there we will hopefully get a chance to test it out later on today maybe, so we'll see about that. So if you want to see exactly if we do get a chance to stick around on that, and I don't know if it's part of this particular video or a separate video because I'm sure this one's long enough, well, you know what I recommend that you do. You stick around.